Well, folks, welcome to another episode of Rimshots with Sean, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. We're going to try to get through this because we're having a couple of connection issues, but we're going to do our best. We have a gentleman who you're going to recognize, needs no introduction, but we're going to do it anyway, all the way from Baja, Mexico. That sounds so nice. Mr. Nadir, the priest. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Sean. Thank you. Thank you for having me on your show. It's great to be here. Thank you so much. We're doing good. How
So,
you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. There was an article that I read, and I don't know if it was from a couple weeks ago, but it was posted on social media. You were doing an interview with somebody about basically the Sunset Strip and back in the day. It was a lot of really interesting stuff. And I guess the first question I'll ask is, why do you think there's this resurgence in that music? I mean, like it kind of everybody had it for dead. Now it seems like it couldn't be back any better.
Well, I think that I think what's happening is the way things have been going on, at least in the world and the country. We're noticing that there's a need of uplifting things, and rock music has always been part of our lifestyle, and it kind of seemed like it faded off into this kind of like place that it wasn't at before. So now our young kids, again, are just transforming themselves into these 80s fans, and real positive. I think that it's great. The good side, obviously, of it, the music, and obviously the clothing and everything. So it's kind of become a little clicky, trendy thing. And in Europe seems to always been, in South America has always, besides the States, very locked into that, and to that whole lifestyle of 80s and stuff. And they're always going, "Oh, I was born on the wrong at the wrong time. I should have been born back in the day, so I can enjoy that time." So
Yeah.
yeah, really cool.
So obviously, my viewers are going to know you as from London, and I guess the first question I'll ask you is, do you ever get tired of answering the same questions about that band? Because I've read an awful lot of things, and it seems like it's the same questions over and over. And you're very gracious when you answer them, but do you ever get to a point where you go, I don't even want to talk about that band anymore?
Well, what happens is that I don't mind questions being asked, and I don't mind that it's London based and all that, but it always seems like you said to be, oh, it's the same questions all the time. One of them, the most number one to me, is what does it feel like that you didn't make it, or what how does it feel that everyone else became rock stars and you didn't? So it's always placed in this open abyss of answers that you can have, and I always tell them the same thing, that I'm good where I'm at. Things, happen for a reason. I'm a survivor, and it's really important, to stay afloat and not just skate on a wave, but I mean ride the wave. But for me, it's been a really cool experience. But they don't seem to dig more into me and things that I've done besides just London, because there's a lot of things that I've done that people are not really digging into.
Well, and it's I guess if you didn't make it or you're not a rock star, it's
Yeah,
funny
I'm
because
trying to figure the
well,
make it part.
right. Well, I'm all the way out in the east coast of Canada, and I brought up that I was talking to you four or five people, and they knew exactly who you were. They knew your history. They knew what you were about. They brought up some different things. So it's kind of like, maybe you've made it in a different way, and you've made it in a way where, it's kind of, I guess, on your terms or something like that, right?
Well, it had to be on our terms. Lizzie and the rest of the guys from the first album, Nonstop Rock, on decided to go the way they wanted to go. We wrote together because we were completely different people, came together and made those albums. But everyone gets to a point where everyone goes off on their own and branches out. And for me, it's always been you know about the music end of it, and I don't think we ever really tried to go any further than that, and that's where that making it thing is kind of weird. If that
Well,
makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, you were knee deep in the hoopla, as they say back in the day. I mean, your band was very prevalent on the Sunset Strip, and I mean, you would have seen and heard and done an awful lot of things that a lot of people, I guess, kind of dreamed about doing. Is that a fair statement?
Well, I knew that being in Los Angeles, you're basically at the epicenter of
Right.
where you're supposed to be. Some people will say, well, it's New York, but I think that for the music business at the time, and it's always been like that, it's been Los Angeles. New York has always been more like the agents. Just it's been different. At least at that period. So everyone wanted to be in LA. So for us, it was, it just happens that, we were there. But, London had been going on, prior to me, with three other, singers and stuff. But it was, a real big struggle, I think, for Lizzie at the time, to get to the point where he could make an album, and that's when I came in. And on the first year, we did do an album with Mike Varney on Shrapnel Records. So everything was like all destiny. If you really look at it, it's you fucking try so hard to do music, and and at the time making a record was a big deal. It was.
And obviously, it's a lot different making records now. But I mean, so you guys did the Shrapnel thing, and I mean that was obviously known as a shredder, guitar shredder album.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, where did you guys fit in? I guess in the landscape of that, because I mean, everybody in your band was good players, but I mean, to me, it's kind of almost like a square peg round hole thing. But I could be wrong there.
Well, I mean, I can say the same thing about, let's say, noise records. How did we get into noise records? They had Creator, Voivod, Celtic Frost, and London. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
But, the thing about it was, I think that these presidents like Mike Varney or Carl Walterbach or Bruce Kirkland, who happened to be the president at one point for noise in New York, they had a certain goal that they wanted, and they saw London, and there was something that that they saw in it to market. And for us, it was the first album, second album, third album, fourth album. It was just a roller coaster and a learning thing for us. So it was great.
So I mean, I was reading about your band previous to London, and you were it might have been the same article, I'm not sure, but you were talking about the players in that band, and if I remember the quote correctly, you were saying the guitar player in particular was probably somebody that was would have been one of the top guys in the scene. Is that an accurate thing about that band that you were
And what band were you talking about?
in? Was it Vertigo?
Yes. Oh yeah. Brian Akari. It was a
Right.
Japanese guy. Yeah. Anything Randy Rhoads would do, this guy could easily do. But it wasn't just that, because back then it wasn't about copying each other so much. I thought these guitar players were always trying to look for that one formula. Like when I used to go see Eddie Van Halen or something, he turned around and he does these solos with an Echoplex, and you're going, what the fuck is he doing? These kind of guys like that were very rare. And if you had one in your band, which I was fortunate to play with this guy, at 5'2" with a full size Les Paul, you know what I mean? So it was, it was really cool. It was, very, very, very cool. I never saw him again, man, after that. Again in my lifetime. We don't know what happened. Been on stage with anyone.
Um, and so you've been doing, and I'd like you to kind of, because I was reading your biography, and I'm sitting there, and I don't want to mess something up, but you've got a whole bunch of other things that you've done since London, solo albums. You've done, albums in different languages, and you're not a guy that's been sitting around doing nothing. You've been keeping busy, and obviously before we started, you were telling me about, you were here, then you moved there, then you moved there, and so you've been around, you've been doing some stuff. So what
Yeah.
can you tell my viewers about what's been going on with you over the last bit?
Well, it's been a really insane road, because after London, after doing Playa del Rock and going on a tour that just completely blew up, Just so much shit happened on the road, man. It was just volatile to the end. But I went off and played in a funk band, 10-piece. Was doing a place called Lava Lee on Ventura Boulevard, where like Marco Mendoza would play there, kind of more like a Brazilian funk kind of was going on at the time. After being in London and all that, it was like touching a whole other world. Still had the B3, the guitar player, the bass player, the backup singers. It was a rock band masked in the funk thing. So for me, it was a lot of fun. But then that only lasted so long because I got an offer to work for Virgin Records, and it was to work on the Rolling Stones Voodoo Lounge CD-ROM. And at that time, which was around '93, I was like, either you do this or you don't do it. I mean, these opportunities don't just land, all the time. This is something, very, very special, very unique. So I dove into that, and I got involved in working for the Rolling Stones for 2 years on the Voodoo Lounge, CD-ROM, developing, working with interactive media, macro media, GT interactive, compression testing for a larger screen. Remember, back then, the screens were this fucking big.
Yep.
Tiny little screens. We were going big. It's the Stones, so it ended up costing like $1.2 million at that time. It was a lot of fucking money. But it's a beautiful product, and we were very proud of it. So that was part of what I was doing at the time. And I moved into the Latin market at the same time and recorded a solo album. And finally, I kind of, during this tumultuous COVID-19, thing, I put it out last year. But, I couldn't do anything because there was so much stuff's going on right now. But so there's so much more in it. There's a long thing, but there was a lot of things going on. Really involved in multimedia for a long time. And then, after '96, things changed. The internet kicked in, and you're in a completely different world. And now here we are now. It's all on the telephone now.
And you're in Bali. So what does Mr. Nadir do in a place like that? Because obviously, weather's going to be incredible most of the time.
Well, I'm here in my studio. I'm here, and you can. Well, I mean, I can turn it if you really want to check it out. I'm here. And you can just open this up right here. And there's the Pacific Ocean.
Wow. Incredible.
So you get to come here. I come here, and I can you see?
Yep. Yes, sir. Look at that. Beautiful.
Yeah, right. And all the toys are right here. Like, all the shit's here. Everything's protected. Everything is all waiting for Daddy to come home.
Well, I'm gonna say,
yes, and that's what we do when you get to be my age now.
How can you be so dedicated? You're sitting there with that view, and like, how do you go in the studio and not want to be outside all the time?
Well, it's not all the time. We have 12 dogs. We have 7 cats. And my mother's here with me, so and my girl too. So it's like we just spend a lot of time here. It's really a completely different lifestyle. It's not West Hollywood for sure.
Yeah.
I look at the TV and I see the traffic reports, and it just gives me fucking anxiety when I see that 405 freeway. I'm like, oh my God, never again. Yeah. And if I would never go back to the West Side ever. If I had a choice to go somewhere, that's not the place to go.
Well,
not for me.
It sounds like you're liking where you're at, and you're liking what you're doing. I want to be respectful of your time. I really appreciate you doing this. And like I said, you were one of those guys that you know, my friends and I that played in bands, we always kind of liked your vibe. We always thought you were a great singer.
Thank you.
Always
Thank
thought you were a great singer, and I would say you don't want to say undiscovered because I mean people knew of you, but you had a very unique voice, and we appreciate that for sure. Where are my folks going to find out
Thank
about you, what you're up to, how they
Well,
can?
they can go right now. We haven't updated the website, but it's there. It's londontheband.net, but they can hit my Instagram account. I'm active all the time, and I'm on Facebook all the time, and I'm on Twitter constantly with Hairnet Radio over there with Bo and all stuff. We share a lot of common friends and stuff. So right now I'm just working on some new stuff, but I'm also have a merchandise store on eBay where people can hit me up there and support and get the new album. This is a double album that I just put in English and Spanish, and then of course get Call That Girl, the latest studio album, and then moving on to more. Keep it going.
Awesome. Well, look, sir, I want to thank you so much for doing this and taking time out of your day. We had a hiccup there, but we sorted it out. And I'd like to stay in touch with you if I could. And
yes, please do.
Yeah,
please do. And hopefully one day I'll get to go to Canada. They fucking let me in.
Well, hey, I'll do my best to get you up here. I think it'd be you and I'd have a little bit of fun.
I'd love to go play. We played in Canada once. We played at a place called Club Soda in Vancouver, BC.
Yep.
A long time ago. And it was so much fun to go there. It was really cool. It was something else. So we're looking forward to going there at some point. Thank you for having me, Sean.
Awesome, bro. Very nice to meet you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Ciao.
See ya. Bye.